Hey everyone, it's Jess here. Today we are going to talk about drawing materials, and in this case, for example, the Rachnera drawing that you're watching in the background was painted with markers, Prismacolors, and some white pens. But there are quite a lot of drawing materials in and of itself, and each of these has even more varieties, like what could be the markers. You can have the alcohol-based markers, the water-based markers, or I think even oil markers. But I never use those, so I'm not gonna talk much about them. But we come back to alcohol markers, where even here there are even more varieties, like the Sharpies are permanent markers that don't really blend that well at all, if they do. And then we have the blendable ones that some examples are Copic, Touch New, or even more cheap like the Super USA. Then we have things like color pencils. Here there are quite a lot. There are wax-based, oil-based, and even watercolor pencils, which are really weird. And there are different kinds of these ones that could be Crayola, Prismacolor, Faber-Castell, and they all have their own advantages and disadvantages. Like, for example, the Crayola pencils have really good pigmentation and color, while the Prismacolor are really amazing to blend with because of the waxy texture. Also, depending on the paper you use, they can really look messed up. You can see these white spots all around the color and it looks kinda ugly, to be honest. And now that we're on the subject, paper. There are quite a lot of brands and types of paper, so I'm focusing more on the paper in and of itself. The paper is graded by weight per centimeter, if I'm not wrong. There are, for example, 50 grams paper that is like this really thin, almost look-through paper. It's really good to trace over things. They will have most of the normal white pages that are, I think, 90 grams. They will have bigger, like the 160 Canson mixed paper. That is what I use most of the time. It is really good for everything. It can even hold watercolor really well. But even for this, there are paper that is 300 grams, that is like really thick and heavy. With this, you can even use oil paint in it and it will stand it just as normal. And it's amazing for watercolors. You can barely tell it has water in it. The papers also have what is called texture, and this is really weird because some people prefer a lot of texture, while others prefer not having texture at all. But this depends a lot of your material of preferences. For example, a mid-texture paper is amazing for markers. It holds everything really well and it holds on amazingly. But a textureless paper for marker is a bit different. The ink doesn't stink as well. The really textured paper doesn't really affect the marker at all. But then we have things like pencil colors. With pencil colors, using textureless paper is amazing. You cannot even tell that there is like something beneath that. It just looks amazing, but as you get a bit more texture, you start seeing the white spots I talked about a bit earlier. And then we have things like paint. With paint, using textureless paper is just a bad idea. That pigments and paint doesn't really stick to it. So the more texture you have in it, the better for it. We also have paints. I don't really am keen to painting. I haven't used paint much in my life, apart from wood and a couple of props cosplay. But I normally use watercolor. And in regards watercolor, we have things that ones that are in tube, or the ones that you can find on already palettes, or the ones you can buy individually. I never tried this last one, but I have always been tempted to. Now we come to things like the cost. We normally think that the more something costs, the better quality it is. And well, this is normally really true. We have things like the Copic markers, which are just absolutely amazing. And to be honest, they are a bit like really pricey, but just the feeling, how the color looks, it's worth it. But that doesn't mean there aren't alternatives like the touch markers, where go around to around like a buck or two a marker, and they're like really good, but they don't have brush tip, and that's the problem with a lot of cheaper markers. They don't have a brush tip. They only include the chisel tip and the fine point. That's, I mean, for me it isn't really a problem, but I could really use the brush tip a lot. We also have markers like the Super USA, which are even cheaper than the touch markers. For this one, I think a packet of 40 markers went up to 20 bucks. That's like really, really, really cheap. And the ink of this is like amazing for the price. Honestly, buying them was kind of bad, to be honest, because a lot of her reviews were kind of negative and kind of positive. Some said that markers came in dry, and others say that the markers were in perfect condition. So it was a toss, and it was good. Now we come to things like the pricing color pencils. Here we have things like Crayola, which are really cheap and really good. Then we have things like Prismacolor, which are relatively pricey but still affordable and also really good. And then we have things like Faber-Castell, which are really expensive and really hacking good. Here it depends a lot on what you prefer and what you feel more comfortable with. Since some of the Faber-Castell color pencils are also oil-based, it just really depends to your budget and, well, the material you prefer to use. I personally prefer the Prismacolor wax-based pencils. I've used them most of my life. Well, that's an exaggeration, but I use them most of the time I draw, and they're just really amazing. Something I forgot to mention was the pencil itself. There are a lot of different kinds of pencils, and I don't refer to the brand of it, but I refer more to the type of graphite it uses or the type of charcoal it uses. If I'm not wrong, the pencils range between 9B, 8B, 6B, 2B, B, HB, H, H2, H4, and H6. The B are really rough pencils that have a lot of color in it, while the H are more fine and delicate ones. But apart from that, we also have things like carbon pencils, which are divided in soft, medium, and hard. The softer it is, the more blendable it is. And these are amazing for realism or even just to shade things, since the hard is just really unblendable. These things are really useful and cool. Most of it comes with a special type of eraser that is kind of like Play-Doh, but not exactly until it really looks like it, I'm not gonna lie. I consider myself really versatile with any type of thing that I decide to do art with. Well, with most of it at least. I have done things with color pencils, as you can see here. I do a lot of things with alcohol markers, both Sharpie and the normal blendable alcohol. And I even done a lot of things with watercolors. It all depends on your level of, well, experience and, well, not totally talent, but just how good you are at it, and your will to try and just use different things, which is something I really encourage. It's fun to experiment with different things, and it's just enjoyable to do so. If you are trying to think of what to buy and you are on a budget, I would recommend the Super USA alcohol markers if that's what you want. They are on Amazon, they are really cheap. If you are searching for something like pencil marker, I mean color pencils. If you like the wax sheet tester of the Prismacolor, I would 100% recommend going for them, even if they are a bit more pricey than the Crayola ones. And regarding paint, I don't really know much about it, but if you want watercolor, I would recommend the Dollar Romy watercolor tubes. I've been using them for a year and a half or so, and they are just really, really good. You can find all these things at Walmart, so you don't need to go to something like a Hobby Lobby or shit like that. If you reached this far, all I have to say is thanks. I really appreciate that you stayed all the way through the video. And here are my social medias. If you want to check them, I will be really grateful. And if you want to see the finished result of this speed paint, you can watch it over on my Instagram and Twitter. And Facebook too, if I have already posted that. So thanks so much for watching, and I hope you have a really good day. Bye.